Some people enter your life like a spark. Fast. Bright. Impossible to ignore. But the love I didn't see coming arrived like a quiet light left on in a hallway. It didn't demand anything. It just stayed. I moved to Chicago in early October, when the air turns sharp, when the trees look like they're burning in slow motion, and when the city feels both endless and lonely at the same time. I told everyone the move was for my career. A better job. A bigger future. That wasn't a lie. It just wasn't the whole truth. The truth was, I wanted to disappear for a while. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a runaway and start over kind of way. More like, I wanted space from my old life. From familiar places that held memories I couldn't stop touching. A relationship I'd poured myself into had ended months earlier. Nothing explosive. No screaming. No betrayal. Just that slow, painful realization that I was trying harder than the other person was. And when it ended, I felt like I'd been carrying something heavy for so long that I didn't know what to do without it. So I moved. And I pretended it was just a normal next step. My apartment was on the 3rd floor of a brick building that looked older than it probably was. The hallway smelled like old wood and laundry detergent. The radiator clicked at night, like it was speaking in a language I hadn't learned yet. The first week, I lived on takeout and coffee. I worked too much. I kept my curtains half closed. Not because I was afraid of the city. Because I was afraid of myself in the quiet. The first time I noticed him was in the laundry room. It was a Sunday evening, and the building's washer was shaking like it was angry about being asked to do its job. I stood there, staring at my clothes like that would somehow make the cycle go faster. Then the door opened behind me. "Hey," a voice said. "Is the washer doing that thing again?" I turned. He was holding a laundry basket with one hand, and with the other he was balancing a bottle of detergent like he'd almost dropped it at some point but refused to admit it. He looked about my age, late 20s, early 30s. Dark hair. Soft eyes. The kind of face that looked calm, even if he'd just climbed 3 flights of stairs. "Yeah," I said. "It's very dramatic." He smiled. "It's like it wants attention," he said. "I swear this machine has a personality." Something about that made me laugh, a small sound I hadn't made in days. He stepped closer, careful not to invade my space. "I'm Ethan," he said. "Maya," I replied. "Welcome," he said. "I saw you moving in last week. If you need anything, extra hangers, tools, an emergency cup of sugar, my door's open." I blinked, surprised by how normal and kind he sounded. "Thanks," I said. "I might take you up on that. These hangers are losing a war." He chuckled like he understood exactly what I meant. Then he nodded toward the washer and said, "If it starts walking across the floor, you have permission to call it possessed." And with that, he set his basket down and started loading the dryer like he'd done it 1,000 times. That was it. A simple conversation. A smile. Nothing that should have mattered. But later, when I went back upstairs, I realized my chest felt a little lighter. Not because I'd met someone special. Just because someone had been gentle with me. And in a new city, gentleness can feel like a lifeline. After that, I saw Ethan in small pieces. In the hallway, carrying groceries. Outside the building, holding the door for someone. At the mailbox, sorting through envelopes like he was trying to solve a puzzle. He always said hello. And he always said it like he meant it. Some people greet you like your background noise. Ethan greeted me like I was a person. And I wasn't used to noticing that. Not in him. Or. One evening, a few weeks after the laundry room, I came home late. It was already dark, and the wind cut through my coat like it had somewhere to be. I stepped into the lobby and realized I'd forgotten my keys in my office. I froze. There's a specific kind of panic that comes when you're locked out, alone, in a city that still feels unfamiliar. I stared at the front door like it might magically open for me out of pity. That's when Ethan walked in behind me. "Hey," he said, noticing my face. "Everything okay?" "I locked myself out," I admitted. "I left my keys at work." Ethan didn't laugh. He didn't make it a big deal. He just nodded like, "Okay. We handle problems here." "You have a spare with someone?" he asked. "No," I said. "I don't know anyone in Chicago yet." Ethan's expression softened. "Okay," he said. "Then you're coming upstairs." I blinked. "What?" "You can sit in my apartment while you figure it out," he said. "Or charge your phone. Or just, not stand in a cold lobby looking like the world ended." I hesitated, every protective instinct flickering to life. But something in his tone, steady, normal, made it feel safe. "Only if you're sure," I said. "I'm sure," he replied. "Come on." Ethan's apartment was warm. Not just temperature, warm in the way it felt lived in. A small lamp glowed in the corner. A shelf held books stacked unevenly, like he'd actually read them and then put them back in a hurry. A plant sat near the window, leaning slightly toward the light like it was curious. "Tea?" he asked. "I'm okay," I said automatically. Ethan tilted his head. "Okay as in I'm fine, or okay as in I don't want to be a burden?" I froze. Because, that second one was exactly what I meant. He shrugged gently, like he wasn't judging me. "I'll make tea," he said. "You can decide if you want some after it exists." I laughed under my breath. He moved around the kitchen with quiet confidence. No showy gestures, no attempt to impress. Just a person making tea. When he handed me the mug, he didn't stare at me waiting for gratitude. He just sat down across from me and said, "So, what do you do?" I took a sip. It was peppermint. "Marketing," I said. "A lot of spreadsheets pretending they're exciting." Ethan smiled. "That sounds exhausting." "It is," I admitted. And I surprised myself by saying it honestly. Ethan nodded like honesty was normal here. "I'm a high school counselor," he said. "Also exhausting. Just a different flavor." "That sounds meaningful," I said. "It is," he replied. "It's also a lot of listening." Something in the way he said that, like listening mattered, made my throat tighten. I looked down at my mug. I didn't want to cry in a stranger's apartment. So I kept my voice light. "So you're good at advice?" Ethan shook his head. "I'm good at asking questions. Advice is overrated." And then he smiled and added, "Also, I'm good at finding spare keys." "Does your landlord have one?" I blinked. "Probably." I didn't even think of that. Ethan reached for his phone. "Let's call." We got the landlord on the second try. They sounded sleepy and mildly annoyed, but they agreed to come. While we waited, Ethan didn't interrogate me. He didn't pry. He just kept me company. And that's how it started. Not romance. Not fireworks. Just someone who didn't let me feel alone in a moment that could have swallowed me. After that night, something shifted. We became familiar. The kind of familiar that shows up slowly, without permission, until one day you realize you know the sound of someone's footsteps. Sometimes Ethan would knock on my door, soft, polite, and offer a paper bag. "Emergency cookies," he'd say. Or, "I made pasta and I miscalculated how much one person eats. This is not my fault. This is math's fault." I'd laugh and invite him in for 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes turned into an hour. We started talking about small things. Movies. Music. Which coffee place was worth the money. Then, without warning, we started talking about bigger things. Loneliness. Loss. The kind of love that doesn't hurt until it's already over. One rainy Saturday, we ended up sitting by my window with 2 coffees and the city blurred into gold lights outside. Ethan stared out at the rain and said, almost casually, "Do you ever feel like you're grieving something that isn't dead?" I turned toward him. "What do you mean?" He shrugged. "Like, you're grieving a version of your life you thought you were going to have," he said. "And it's hard because you can't explain it to anyone. Nothing technically happened. But something still ended." My chest tightened because it felt like he'd reached into my brain and pulled out the sentence I'd been swallowing for months. I stared at him, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yes," I whispered. "All the time." Ethan looked at me then, really looked, and his eyes softened in a way that felt almost dangerous. Not because it was intense. Because it was gentle. And gentleness can make you want to trust someone. I didn't tell him everything right away. But I started telling him pieces. That my last relationship ended because I was the only one trying. That I'd moved because staying felt like suffocating. That I hated the silence at night. Ethan listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't make it about himself. When I finished, he simply said, "That sounds lonely." And I nodded, because it was the first time someone had named it correctly. Ethan leaned back in the chair and exhaled slowly. "I'm glad you moved," he said. I blinked. "You're glad I moved to Chicago?" He smiled slightly. "I'm glad you got out," he said. "I'm glad you chose yourself, even if it felt like running." My throat tightened. No one had called it choosing myself before. I had called it Philo. After that, I started looking forward to Ethan. And that realization scared me. Because I didn't want to need anyone again. Needing someone had felt like giving them a weapon. But Ethan didn't feel like a weapon. He felt like a steady PLA. In December, Chicago turned into a different city. The wind sharpened. Snow piled against sidewalks. The sky stayed gray like it forgot what blue was. Ethan and I developed a routine. On Fridays, we'd walk to a small bookstore a few blocks away. On Sundays, we'd try a new coffee shop. Sometimes we'd cook in his apartment because mine had a stove that behaved like it was holding a grudge. We didn't call it dating. We didn't talk about what it meant. It was just us. And honestly, I didn't know if I could handle naming it. Because naming it would make it real. And real things can break. One night, right before Christmas, the building lost power. It happened suddenly, lights gone, elevator quiet, the hallway filled with that strange silence that comes when machines stop humming. I stepped into the hallway, holding my phone like it was a candle. At the same time, Ethan opened his door. "Power's out," he said, like he'd been expecting it. "Yeah," I replied. "The universe wants us to live like it's 1890. Ethan laughed. Then he glanced down the hall and said, "Do you want to come over? I have candles." I hesitated for only a second before nodding. His apartment glowed with warm candlelight. Shadows moved softly on the walls. The city outside looked even farther away in the dark. Ethan set 2 candles on the coffee table and handed me a blanket. "Sit," he said. "You're freezing." I wrapped the blanket around myself and watched him move. There was something intimate about candlelight. Not romantic in a dramatic way. Just quiet. Honest. We sat on the couch, listening to the wind outside. After a while, Ethan spoke. "Maya," he said softly. I looked at him. He was watching the candle flame like it held an answer. "Can I tell you something without making it weird?" he asked. I smiled faintly. "That depends on what it is." Ethan breathed out a quiet laugh. "I like you," he said. Not in a casual way. Not in a "we're neighbors and we get along" way. My heart stopped. Then started again, louder. Ethan's voice stayed calm, but his hand rested on his knee like he was grounding himself. "I've liked you for a while," he continued. "And I've been trying to be respectful, because I can tell you've been through something. I stared at him, stunned. Ethan looked at me now, eyes steady. "I'm not asking you for anything," he said. "I just didn't want to keep pretending I didn't feel it." The candle flickered. My chest felt full, like my ribs were too small. I didn't know what to say. So I told the truth. "I like you too," I whispered. Ethan's expression softened, like relief and fear arrived together. "But," I added quickly, "because fear always tries to protect you, I'm scared." Ethan nodded immediately. "I know," he said. "Me too." He didn't move closer. He didn't push. He just said, "We can go slow." I swallowed hard. "How slow?" I asked, voice almost trembling. Ethan smiled gently. "As slow as you need," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." I wanted to believe him. But part of me remembered all the promises people make when things are new. So I didn't lean into romance right away. Instead, I let something else happen. I let myself feel safe. That night, we talked for hours. About his job. About mine. About our families. About the ways we'd been hurt and the ways we didn't want to hurt anyone again. When the power finally came back, it felt like waking up from a dream. I stood to leave, blankets sliding from my shoulders. Ethan walked me to the door. And there, in the hallway's new light, he said softly, "Can I hug you?" The question made my eyes burn. Because no one had asked me that in a long time. I nodded. Ethan hugged me, gentle, warm, not possessive. Just steady. And when he let go, he didn't try to steal a kiss or turn it into something bigger. He simply said, "Good night, Maya." And I went back to my apartment feeling like my heart had been handled with care. In the weeks after that, we kept going slow. But the truth was out now. And the truth changes things, even when you move carefully. Ethan started leaving me little notes on my door. Nothing dramatic. Just small kindness. "Coffee? Bookstore after work? Proud of you. You looked confident today." Each note made my chest warm. And it terrified me. Because warmth can become attachment. Attachment can become loss. In February, something unexpected happened. My ex, Lucas, sent me a message. It appeared on my phone late at night, like a ghost. "Hey. I heard you moved. I've been thinking about you. Can we talk?" My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen for a long time. I hadn't heard from him since the breakup. And now, months later, he was back. Not because he suddenly cared. I knew this pattern. He missed the comfort of me. The way I tried. I could feel old emotions stirring, anger, sadness, that familiar ache. And then something else. Fear. Because Ethan existed now. And I didn't want the past to ruin something good. The next day, I told Ethan. We were walking through a park, snow crunching under our boots. The sky was pale and cold. Ethan listened quietly. When I finished, he didn't get angry. He didn't act possessive. He just asked, "How do you feel?" I swallowed. Confused, I admitted. Not because I want him back. But because, it's like a part of me still wants closure. Ethan nodded. Closure is tricky, he said. Sometimes it's not a conversation. Sometimes it's a decision you make privately. I glanced at him. What if I make the wrong one? Ethan stopped walking and turned to face me. His breath fogged in the air. Maya, he said gently, you're allowed to choose the future that feels kind. Tears stung my eyes. Ethan continued, and if you choose me, I'm here. If you don't, I'll still want good things for you. But I'm not going to compete with someone who didn't know how to hold you. That sentence hit me like a truth I'd been avoiding. He didn't know how to hold me. Ethan did. That night, I answered Lucas. I kept it short. I hope you're well. I'm not coming back. I needed more than you were willing to give. Please don't contact me again. My hands shook when I pressed send. Then I set my phone down and waited for the flood of grief. But it didn't come. Instead, there was silence. And in that silence, relief. Like I'd finally stopped reopening a wound to check if it still hurt. 2 days later, Ethan knocked on my door. When I opened it, he was holding a small paper bag. "Emergency cookies," he said. I laughed softly. "Your math is still bad, huh?" Ethan's smile widened. "Terrible," he admitted. "But my intentions are excellent." He stepped inside, and I told him what I'd done. How I'd answered Lucas. How I'd closed that door. Ethan didn't cheer like it was a victory. He simply looked at me with something like pride. "I'm really proud of you," he said. I swallowed hard. And then, for the first time in a long time, I let myself believe that choosing myself wasn't selfish. It was survival. Later that night, we sat by the window again. Rain tapped lightly at the glass, Chicago doing what it always did, switching seasons without asking permission. Ethan's shoulder brushed mine. I didn't move away. I leaned in. Ethan froze for a second like he didn't want to assume. Then, softly, he asked, "Is this okay?" I nodded. "Yes," I whispered. "This is okay." Ethan turned slightly. And this time, he didn't ask for a hug. He asked for something smaller, but somehow bigger. "Can I hold your hand?" he said. I looked at him. And I realized this was what I'd been afraid of. Not the dramatic kind of love. But the steady kind. The kind you can build a life around. I placed my hand in his. Ethan's fingers wrapped around mine gently, like he was holding something fragile and precious. I exhaled. And something inside me, something clenched for months, finally loosened. We sat there, hand in hand, listening to the rain. No fireworks. No grand confession. Just the quiet understanding that we'd both been lonely. And now we weren't. After a while, Ethan said, "I have another confession." I smiled. "Oh?" He nodded toward the window. "I hate winter," he said. "I pretend I don't, because I live in Chicago and I'm supposed to be tough. But winter is rude." I laughed, genuinely. "Winter is extremely rude," I agreed. Ethan smiled, and then his voice softened. "But," he added, "this winter was better than the last one." I felt my chest tighten. Because I understood what he meant. So I said the truth. "Mine too," I whispered. Spring came slowly, like it was cautious. The city warmed. The sidewalks dried. People started sitting outside again, pretending they hadn't complained all winter. Ethan and I didn't become perfect overnight. We had awkward moments. We had conversations about boundaries and pacing. We learned each other's fears like you learn a new language. But we also had something I hadn't had in a long time. Peace. One evening, we walked along the lakefront. The water was dark and calm. The skyline shimmered like a promise. Ethan stopped and looked at me. "Maya," he said. I turned. "I want to make sure you know something," he said. "What?" Ethan took a slow breath. "I don't love you in a way that needs to take up all your space," he said. "I love you in a way that wants you to have space." My eyes burned again. And I laughed softly, because it was absurd how emotional kindness could make me. "I think," I said, "that's the only kind of love I can do now." Ethan smiled. "Good," he said. "Because it's the only kind I want to give." That night, when I went home, I stood at my window and watched the city lights. And I realized something. I hadn't moved to Chicago to start over. Not really. I'd moved to learn how to breathe again. To learn that love doesn't have to feel like begging. It doesn't have to feel like proving you deserve it. Sometimes love is simple. It's a cup of tea when you're locked out. A quiet question, "Is this okay?" A hand offered, not demanded. Sometimes love is just someone who stays and doesn't make you earn their kindness. And that's how it happened. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in the most real way I've ever known. Because the night we finally spoke was the night I finally believed I was safe to be loved.